Miracle Star thought they could get away with blatantly copying the amazing world of Gumball. But instead of success, it backfired epically, sinking to one of the worst ratings in cartoon history and sparking massive fan backlash. And stay with me until the end, because the way Gumball turned this shameless ripoff into one of the most iconic clapbacks in animation is pure genius.
Wait, aren't we gonna have to pay for all this?
We don't have to. They're free samples.
Oh!
The origin of the clone. Miracle Star wasn't born out of a passion for storytelling. It was a corporate move. Back in 2010, Soon Foods, one of the largest dairy companies in China, was looking for a flashy way to promote its goat milk brand. Instead of going the traditional route with commercials or mascots, they decided to invest in a cartoon that could serve as an extended advertisement. Their goal wasn't to create an original world with relatable characters, but to build a marketing tool that kids would associate with their products. At the same time, the amazing world of Gumball was beginning its global rise. With its unique mix of animation styles, witty writing, and relatable yet bizarre humor, Gumball was capturing audiences everywhere. It quickly became one of Cartoon Network's most distinctive shows, standing out in an era crowded with animated series. By 2014, Soon Foods launched Miracle Star, and the similarities to Gumball were impossible to ignore. Instead of inventing new personalities, the creators simply reskinned the Wattersons. Kiki, the troublemaking boy, was a near-carbon copy of Gumball. Guagua, his pet frog, filled Darwin's role as the loyal sidekick. Their parents mirrored Richard and Nicole almost frame for frame. The intention was clear: replicate Gumball's formula of quirky family dynamics and slapstick humor, but tie it all back to dairy promotion. Rather than standing as its own creative series, Miracle Star immediately felt like a hollow imitation. Where Gumball had originality and charm, Miracle Star looked like a commercial stretched into an episode, setting the stage for what would become one of animation's most infamous ripoffs. The copies and the controversy. The similarities between Miracle Star and the amazing world of Gumball were impossible to miss, and honestly, laughably blatant. Kiki, the supposed original protagonist, was essentially Gumball with a new paint job. His pet frog, Guagua, didn't even attempt to hide its inspiration, acting as a carbon copy of Darwin. But it didn't stop there. Other familiar faces like Masami, Bobert, and Leslie were shamelessly cloned into the Miracle Star universe, stripped of their charm and personality. It was as if the creators of Miracle Star had taken the Gumball character sheet, traced over it, and presented it as new work. And the copying didn't end with characters. It extended to entire scenes. Many moments from Gumball were recreated shot for shot, with the same framing, timing, and even the same jokes, just delivered in Mandarin. The infamous phone call scene, the chaotic DVD fiasco, and countless other iconic Gumball gags were simply lifted and reskinned. Watching Miracle Star often felt like watching a bootlegged version of Gumball with the soul sucked out of it. In some cases, they didn't just mimic scenes, they hijacked whole plots. Full episodes were restructured to follow Gumball's storylines almost word for word, with only the smallest, most superficial tweaks. Sometimes they'd swap a character or change the setting, but the core remained identical. These twists weren't enough to disguise the theft. Instead, they made the similarities stand out even more, as if the writers believed that a minor costume change could mask an obvious copy. Rather than being a loving homage or even a clever parody, Miracle Star came across as a hollow shadow of its source material, one that thought the language barrier would protect it from scrutiny. But it didn't. Fans of Gumball across the globe noticed, documented, and shared the side-by-side comparisons. The result? The ripoff was exposed for what it truly was, an uninspired imitation that mistook plagiarism for creativity. Gumball's response: the copycats. In this episode, the Wattersons encounter a bizarre family of lookalikes, Chi-Chi, Ribbit, and the rest, who are clearly stand-ins for the Miracle Star cast. At first, Gumball and Darwin are shocked to see their every word and move mimicked in real time, but then it turns into a full-on confrontation. The message is clear. Imitation may be the sincerest form of flattery, but here it's exposed for the hollow fraud it is. The confrontation reaches its peak with the now iconic musical number, Be Your Own You. In it, the Wattersons sing a playful but pointed anthem, encouraging their copycat counterparts to stop mimicking and discover their own originality. The song is catchy and comedic, but the subtext is razor-sharp. It ridicules Miracle Star for its lack of creativity and inability to stand on its own. But words and music alone don't bring the showdown to a close. The episode escalates with daring stunts, culminating in both families racing toward disaster. And in a twist loaded with symbolism, the copycats fail precisely because they lack an Anais of their own. Without her intelligence and quick thinking, they can't avoid catastrophe. It's a subtle reminder that authenticity and originality are what give a family, or a show, its true strength. What makes this meta-response even more fascinating is what surfaced later. Early storyboards for the Copycats originally depicted the Chinese bootleggers in their actual Miracle Star designs. Only later, to avoid legal trouble, were the visuals tweaked to look more like distorted versions of the Wattersons. Even so, fans instantly recognized the jab, and the episode was celebrated as one of Gumball's boldest moments. Rather than silencing the issue, the creators transformed an act of blatant plagiarism into a cultural punchline. They not only defended their work, but elevated it, proving that satire can sometimes be a sharper weapon than any lawsuit. The downfall of Miracle Star. The rejection of Miracle Star was absolute and merciless. From the moment it hit the airwaves, audiences flooded the internet with negative reviews, scathing comments, and mocking memes. The humor fell flat, the characters were lifeless, and fans of Gumball wasted no time exposing the plagiarism with side-by-side comparisons. On IMDb, the show sank to an abysmal score of 1.3 out of 10, an almost unheard-of rating that cemented its reputation as one of the worst animated series ever made. The criticism didn't fade with time, it only grew harsher. Week after week, viewers tore apart episodes for their laziness and lack of originality. By the year 2017, the relentless backlash had finally done its work. Miracle Star came to an end, disappearing from television and leaving behind nothing but ridicule. Far from being remembered as a creative endeavor, it became a textbook case of what not to do in animation, copying another show frame by frame without adding any heart, personality, or originality. And in the process, Gumball proved once again why it was the true star. Its originality, humor, and creativity outshone the imitation, turning what could have been a threat into an embarrassing failure for the copycats. The company behind it, Soon Foods. Despite the fiasco of Miracle Star, Soon Foods managed to remain one of China's biggest dairy giants, showing that while the cartoon crashed and burned, the company behind it barely felt a scratch. Their core business, goat milk and dairy products, continued to thrive, supported by an enormous distribution network and a strong presence in the Chinese market. In the year 2017, Soon Foods made a major move that proved just how powerful they still were on the global stage. They acquired the French margarine brand Saint Hubert for approximately 625 million euros, a deal that was meant to expand their influence beyond Asia and into European markets. For a company that had just been ridiculed worldwide for producing one of the most infamous cartoon ripoffs ever, the purchase signaled that they were still financially robust and ambitious. Fast forward to the year 2025, and Soon Foods was valued at nearly 950 million United States dollars on the Shanghai Stock Exchange. To put that into perspective, that amount is close to the combined net worth of more than 12,000 average American households. In other words, while Miracle Star became a laughingstock in the world of animation, Soon Foods itself grew stronger, richer, and even more dominant in the food industry. It's a striking contrast. The show they bankrolled will forever be remembered as a failure, while the company itself continues to rise as one of China's most influential dairy empires. Miracle Star goes down in history as one of the worst animation ripoffs ever, while Gumball transformed that disaster into one of its most celebrated episodes. It's a perfect reminder that originality always wins over imitation. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into Gumball's wildest stories, Make sure to hit that subscribe button and share in the comments. Which Gumball episode do you think deserves the spotlight next?